Welcome back to the show. Check out these headlines. Clarity Act hits a heated battle. Will it pass? We're going to touch it. U.S. government shutdown or a reset? And how about the Bitcoin dilemma? Oh, it's on. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.74 trillion market cap for crypto. The market's off 0.6, but we know it's much more than that because we've been well over 4 trillion. So let's look at this. Bitcoin 107,800 plus, Ethereum 3,800 plus. Number 5 spots, XRP at 238. We're off 1.4 on the 24. We're off 5.6 on the 7-day. Look at the range of price, ranging between 233 and 243. Boy, don't get me back down in that 220 range or lower. I know what I'll do. Yeah, don't tell Mrs. Backup. Yeah. Unless you're my sister-in-law, she'll tell on me, damn it. No, I hope they're doing well. It's all in fun. Let's take a look at this. Listen, we know that there's been some horrible, horrible attacks on people in our community. One gentleman lost over $3 million in XRP because he thought he was on cold storage, but he was actually on a hot wallet and he was compromised somehow. And I tell you, this is why we talk about the solutions where we keep our assets over the years we've been in this space. And this here is one of them. It's iTrustCapital.com. And if you click the link underneath any video, you can get started right now because this PCA is an account that gives you all the cryptos that you could ever want to trade on the platform. You even have staking available on the platform now, Solana, and I think something else. And obviously, they have the best crypto IRAs, gold and silver, on the planet. There's no question. You can get access to all the same exact things in the PCA. You get institutional level grade custody at that PCA account as well. So you get your IRA set up there. I've been there 6 years. Now you get your PCA set up. And here's the trick. It's a closed loop system. And it's done this way to where you can only cash out. So you cannot take crypto out of the account. So if you're a day trader, this isn't for you. We're speaking to the long-term holder now. We're speaking to the person that wants security first, right? It's right here. It's at iTrustCapital, and you should take advantage of it because you don't want to find yourself this close to where the market is absolutely getting ready to be embraced by traditional finance and find out that your assets have been compromised. This is a great way to protect yourself. It's a great way to start getting the best night's sleep since you've been in crypto. Click the link for iTrustCapital/XRP Army and get started today. You're going to love the peace of mind you get from it. Let's start right here. Talk about peace of mind. Here's Tucker Carlson talking about why he would never own Bitcoin. Take a listen.
And nobody can explain to me who Satoshi was, the creator of Bitcoin, this mysterious guy who apparently died, but nobody knows who he was. I grew up in DC primarily in a government family, so CIA. That's my guess. Can't prove it, but you're telling me to invest in something whose founder is mysterious and has billions of dollars of unused Bitcoin. What is that? And no one can answer the question, including some of the biggest holders of Bitcoin in the world. Do I know personally? They're like, oh, it doesn't matter. It matters to me, right?
There you have it. That's the question we've been asking for years here. And we know about the 4 Satoshis, Rana Sayad, Special Agent of Homeland Security. I don't need to unpack it, but they won't reveal the identities. Max Kaiser fights back, does a Grok search that says, no, the CIA did not invent Bitcoin. And I say, okay, fine. The NSA did. Feel better? The SHA-256 algorithm is in fact patented by the NSA. Just people helping people here, ladies and gentlemen. Just people helping people. Jack Mallers says, if you think knowing who created Bitcoin matters, you don't understand it. Bitcoin is open source. Nobody has special rights, and everyone can verify that. It doesn't matter who created Bitcoin, he says. Bitcoin is neutral technology like math. And I simply say, well, if it doesn't matter, let's clear it up for every investor in the world holding it. How about that one? Right? If it's not a big deal, Jack, then why is it such a damn secret? Because we know that people already know the answer. Michael Saylor knows the answer. Scottie Pippen knows the answer. Homeland Security knows the answer. Why are we not good enough to know the answer? We should all just trust Jack. Dom from Easy A says it best here. It's easy for Maxis to dismiss Tucker Carlson's Bitcoin comments as clueless, but his point is one shared by many. Most people won't invest in something whose creator is unknown. Whenever I speak to people outside crypto, this is one of the first questions they ask. Who created Bitcoin? Most people here are used to the idea that no one knows who created Bitcoin. But if you really stop and think about it, it's pretty odd. When was the last time you invested your money in a company or stock, even though you didn't know who created or runs it? This is exactly right. This is absolutely just someone being responsible and level headed and smart in asking the questions. And I add to his point what Bitcoin maxis find special about Bitcoin, unknown Satoshi, at some point can actually be an Achilles heel. Either the true identity, release the true identities of Satoshi because investors like me deserve to know, or the US government confiscates Satoshi's wallet for Bitcoin strategic reserve. That's what I think needs to happen. If we're not careful, that could happen. That could happen. The United States says they're going to use it for a strategic reserve, but you know what? Not knowing who Satoshi is, and I firmly believe that it was created by the NSA, so they'll claim to the world if they do this and confiscate Satoshi's wallet, I believe they'll claim to the world that they've cracked the Bitcoin code to get the Satoshi wallet, when in fact, all they did was reach in the government drawer and pull out the keys and passphrases and unlock it, because I believe the government created it or commissioned it, if you will. And here's the Bitcoin dilemma. Not only is that the Bitcoin dilemma, but there's so much more here. Bo Hines is out here telling everybody he feels sorry for people that sell their Bitcoin. And this is the Bitcoin dilemma. While Bo Hines feels sorry for anyone selling their Bitcoin, at the very same time, Jack Dorsey is working so everyone can spend their Bitcoin. First, it was down with the banks and governments and the US dollar. Now they're cheering for Wall Street and U.S. government to hijack Bitcoin through ETFs and a strategic reserve. The Bitcoin maxi community is one of the most conflicted group of people I've ever come across in my life. And that is a true statement. They also blocked us from being at the same facility that they were at in 2026 for our conference. And I was doing that as a show of solidarity to Olive Branch and bring the communities together. Bitcoin doesn't want it. They don't want to come together. That's the kind of people they are. Van Eck says, regardless of the Bitcoin dilemma, this is what they see if the strategic reserve comes together.
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme. So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
There you go. High conviction call. So look, and I mean, this is why I still hold it, because JD Vance stood in front of everybody and said that it was absolutely, like a very important asset. So I'm like, hey, I know all of these things about the Satoshis and what have you, but I have Bitcoin in my IRA. You damn right I do. But if this changes and they don't adopt it in the strategic reserve, I'll be out. Just know that. Not financial advice. Nate Garazzi right here. Shout out to him. He says, you can't overstate the significance of T. Rowe Price now filing for an actively managed crypto ETF out of left field. T. Rowe is quintessential legacy asset manager founded in 1937, and here they come. Build it and they will come, I say. And that's not the only thing. We know that with all the DeFi products out here, Flare has been making a hell of an impact. And as you can see here, over $96 million in USD bridged as FXRP. That's 40 million XRP locked up on Flare at the moment, and it's just getting started. You know, this DeFi side of the market is going to be a massive explosion, and it is a build it and they'll come, right? But we do need the legislation for all of this to really truly take off and to see a marriage of traditional financial players, banks, moving into this system, and then incorporating things like DeFi as an option from within that trusted bank that you've been with for so long. Don't blink, it's coming. Don't blink. And this we have to, I mean, can we not? I'm telling you right, I might talk about this once a video for the rest of my life. Ripple-backed Evernorth aims to raise over $1 billion for XRP Treasury, and they're going to go public, planning to go public Q1 26, and they'll be on NASDAQ. I mean, what are we talking about here? You know, we're talking about they obviously realize a huge demand for XRP because they're going to start a corporate treasury to collect it all. And they've made it very clear in their notice to do so that they will be buying directly off the retail spot market. More on the Shane Ellis theory in the next video, because I believe that's exactly what you're seeing in real time. Bank of America says they're entering the entire U.S. bank industry will embrace crypto payments, not just Bank of America, the entire U.S. banking industry. Okay, so that's crypto payments. So you think they're just going to use it for crypto payments, digital dollars, but they're not going to offer you any kind of services outside of that? Come on, are you kidding me? They've been watching for more than a decade all of their customers take money out of their bank to go buy this stuff called crypto. Yeah, of course they're going to. They don't want you going anywhere. They're like casinos, right? Now let's hear here Charles Hoskinson break down where we're at here. 250 trillion
There are $20
in
trillion
real world asset tokenization by just 2028. Hell, let's call that 2 years from now.
There are $20 trillion of real-world assets that are waiting to enter the cryptocurrency space. There's $100 trillion of global markets that the cryptocurrency space can expand to, and cryptocurrencies will enter mainstream consumers' everyday lives, and all Fortune 500 companies will adopt them. That is the reward for cooperation. That is the reward for objectivity, and that's the reward for fairness.
There you have it. Look, I'm going to stop it right there because he goes on, but he's doing a lot of work back and forth between DC. Obviously, I don't want to cut the conversation off, but for the sake of where we're going for this video, all the Forbes 500. And what did we learn with G Treasury? That the G Treasury serves the Fortune 500, right? So, yeah, buddy. I got to be honest, Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple, man, they're smarter than I'll ever be. I mean, that's obvious, but that's why they're not doing YouTube channels and I am, right? So, but the reality is thank God for them. That's what I can say. And let's take a look at where we're at in getting the Clarity Act passed because there's some drama. There's some drama for our mama. Let's take a look at it right here. Small nugget from Brendan Pedersen here. He says Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is among the Democrats meeting with crypto leaders on Capitol Hill this morning. Roundtable was convened by Senator Gillibrand to try reviving stalled crypto talks with Republicans. Really? Okay. Well, sources in the room say the meeting got heated. Senator Gallego, Democrat from Arizona, per two sources familiar, told the crypto CEOs, I'm really effing pissed about what happened last week. Don't be an arm of the Republican Party. They used you all and your megaphones to F us. No, that isn't what happened, Senator Gallego. That is not what happened at all. What happened is you had 4 years to get the job done, and you didn't. You put a boot on the back of our neck. So that's what happened. And now you're sitting here feckless and looking to politically posture by hurting people who need real government assistance every day, by shutting the government down because you couldn't get the job done 4 years ago in the last 4 years. And now you want to throw your hands up that you're upset because everybody on the right side leaked the information about you stalling this bill because you wanted $1.5 trillion for your illegals so you could get more votes. It's disgusting. You're disgusting. Anyone supporting that is disgusting. Start doing the will of the people, or they're going to remember your ass come time for midterms and you're going home. That's where we're at. Now let's listen, because I do believe we're getting that market infrastructure bill passed this year. But listen to Senator Lummis' response when asked about it.
We also had a chance to speak to Senator Cynthia Lummis, who chairs the Senate panel on digital assets. She told us she's thrilled all the parties are coming to Capitol Hill, and she just wishes the groups could meet as one. What was missing from the meetings that needs to happen for this to actually pass before the end of the year?
We need to meet together. These are separate meetings. The Democrats are meeting separately with industry. The Republicans are meeting separately with industry. It's going to be time that we all hear the same thing at the same time.
And I had a chance to actually catch up with David Sachs before he stepped in the elevator.
You know what?
Says the meetings are going well.
And she said, everybody hear the same thing at the same time. You're telling me all this stalling and all we had to do is put these jackasses in one room? Look, that to me, that's political posturing. That is avoiding what the actual what's actually happening. That is not why we're sitting here with a government shutdown. That is absolute BS. We're getting that market infrastructure bill passed this year. And how do I feel so strongly about it? Well, one, listen to Brian Armstrong.
Yeah, well, we had great meetings with the Democrats in the Senate and on the Republican side today. And the good news is that there's strong bipartisan support and will to get this market structure legislation done. It's important for America, and the 50 million Americans who've used crypto want to see it get done. And so one date we heard floated was, let's try to get this markup done before Thanksgiving. I think that there's 90% of the issues are already aligned on and agreed, and there's draft text going back and forth, a lot of great cross-functional collaboration happening. That last 10% are the remaining issues, and everyone committed to get in the room together and work it out, and hopefully we'll see some draft text or get it out. Yeah, well,
And there you have it. So by Thanksgiving, he believes we get the markup. And here's David Sachs himself after visiting the Hill. He says, I spent today on Capitol Hill meeting with members of the Senate Banking GOP and Senate Agriculture GOP, which is right and left side. He said, committees, thank you to their respective chairmen, Senator Tim Scott and John Boozman, for hosting me. He said, I also had productive meetings with leading Democrat members and believe we're in an excellent position to pass market structure legislation with bipartisan support this year. This will finally bring much needed regulatory clarity to the crypto industry, building on the success of the Genius Act, signed into law by the President Trump earlier this year. The executive director of the White House Crypto Council, Patrick Witt, who came from DARPA, remember? Yeah. Also joined me. Finally, he said, I had the great pleasure of meeting this little doggy down here. Good for him. So now here's why I believe we're getting it, because that market infrastructure bill is about preserving the U.S. dollar dominance. And with stable coins now rivaling the world's largest payment network in transaction volume, I believe we're going to get that bill. Stablecoins processed $46 trillion in transactions over the past year, nearly 3 times Visa's volume, and closing in on the ACH network that powers all of U.S. banking. We're getting that bill, folks. And Raul Powell says here, and I don't have play it for you, but he says here, basically, the bull market will extend to Q2 of 2026. Basically saying this market infrastructure bill and all the things that he talks about here, the ISM and different metrics, show that we are moving into a different cycle. And I believe that's accurate, because once we go into this 5-year cycle instead of the 4-year cycle, I think we're going to see the market infrastructure bill passed, and eventually you're getting ready to see a new cycle established. And that cycle is called utility. And if your project doesn't have any, you better watch out. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the Freedom Zone. I hope you will join us too. Remember, this is not financial advice from me or anyone else. We're going into the freedom zone, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you will join us. Click the link underneath the bottom of any video and join us in YouTube, Patreon, or on X. All the same price, all the same perks, your platform, whatever you choose. And I tell you what, we're going inside now to discuss a little more about this Clarity Act and why I think it's going to pass. We're going inside right now. It's a small thing, but I think it matters nonetheless. We're going inside right now. So come on in.